The good idea was, well, there's Netflix, there's Hulu, there's a resurgent film industry, there's Instagram TV, there's YouTube, but somehow we're going to find a space in the middle, right?
Well, the idea is actually very high quality short form video for mobile. And in a day part use of 7 in the morning till 7 at night. But actually the bigger idea, there's a long history of technology enabling new ways to tell stories. And that's what I saw. I said, if we can bring the best of Hollywood and the best of Silicon Valley and create a technology platform that allows the creators that Jeffrey has worked with for 40 years, we can create something extraordinary. And you have to remember, this phone was never designed to watch video on it, right? It was designed to make phone calls, to take still pictures, to text, other things. And I said, I think there's a way to make a technology platform that will make watching video extraordinary on this device, creating a whole new generation of filmed entertainment.
All right, let's talk about the pain points. What are the worst things about watching video on a phone? Because there's a lot.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, it's not a horrible experience, but we think it can be a lot better. So first is, think about portrait to landscape. Most companies have either decided they're going to do things in portrait or landscape, but they don't have the ability to go back and forth between portrait and landscape in full screen video. We've created a technology that allows that to happen. Think about if you were to watch a video in this room right now, you could get the video to look right, but then you go outside into the sunlight and you can't see it. So we have the ability to change the lighting of your video with just your fingers in-app. Noise, a simple thing. You're watching your video on a bus, it's pretty quiet, and then all of a sudden it gets really loud, you can't hear it. Well, everything on Quibi will be subtitled. Little tap of the button, subtitles come up, noise goes off. And then when you're ready to listen again, you can hear it again. And we've got a whole host of things around personalization that we've got to work on as well. But those are some of the key ideas. And here's an interesting thing, and everyone in this audience knows this. When you are an entrepreneur, part of the strategy is the art of exclusion. And we made a decision very early on that this was going to be the only screen that we were going to develop for. And so every bit of our storytelling, every bit of our technology is designed to optimize just one device. And that makes things happen that you wouldn't imagine.
All right, let's pause here for a second to make sure that everybody understands exactly what you're doing. And then I want to dig back into one thing you said. Jeffrey, why don't you just take a minute and say what the content will be on Quibi, the 3 different tiers of how content will be presented, when your launch date is, so that we all know what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I think it falls into a couple of categories of sort of new sort of evolution of storytelling. And the first is that movies in chapters. And I think of this as actually maybe the 3rd generation of film narrative. The first generation were movies, 2-hour stories meant to be watched in a single sitting in a movie theater. Second generation of film narrative were 13 to 26 hour-long stories designed to be watched in chapters with act breaks for commercials in between. We're sort of marrying those two ideas together. So Quibi is actually sort of bringing that same idea, which is we're making movies that were the mainstay of the business when I grew up in it. So if you go back into the 60s and 70s and 80s, we made people movies. They were big, high-concept ideas with great actors in them. And so those movies are really don't really work in movie theaters today. We think they are going to be bread and butter for us. Second is actually doing really kind of fun things in reality television today, and where we can take this, we're sitting here, YouTube is actually the foundation of this and the author of this, which is if you had fantastic resources, as YouTube storytellers and creators, if you had greater resources, what would the ambition and that you could do with it? And that's what a subscription service allows us to do. And third, which I think maybe end up being most importantly, is that we are going to professionally curate information, everything you need to know and why it matters, into these sort of 4 to 6 minute news, sports, weather, horoscope, just a suite of things in which we're actually going to make gaming, esports, celebrity, convenient for you on a device in a high quality way and targeted very specifically at 25 to 35-year-olds. It's in effect, if you think about it, it's what Spotify did for music. 7, 8 years ago, all music was free, all music was available. Just type it into, to a device and you could get it. So why are there 250 million people paying $10 a month for music today? Convenience. A playlist is created, recommendations are given. Ease of use is incredibly valuable.